This conference will now be recorded.
Got anybody on? You ready? Okay. Would everyone please rise for the pledge and invocation? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Our dear God, Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight to thank you for all the many blessings that thou hast given us. We are now completely full of staff at Town Hall and with all of our public works and everybody. Bless them, Lord. They all do a great job for us and guide them and keep them safe. Lord, we thank Trinity Lutheran Church for their dedication yesterday of their, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, probably Carolyn's, and the beautiful sound that hits the town twice today with the songs and the chimes. Really keep their hearts and everything close to you, Lord. The Lord bless those who are suffering, those who are ill, those who are separated from their family due to other obligations like military, police department, whatever. Please guide them and let them be safe and bring them all home. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Looks like all the council's present. Okay. Everybody have a chance to review the minutes
Yes, I have.
from a regular minute on September 18th. Okay.
I had some questions. I didn't think we voted to table the treasurer's report. I think that might have been a mistake.
Yeah, you just abstained.
I think I just abstained, so that needs to say motion to approve.
Yes.
Okay, and then in the Washington County Treasurer's Report, it says all of the counties. Discovered that all of the counties do the taxes for the towns. That's a mistake. It's only like 18 of 23. And then the weekly reimbursements were only going to be in July and December, the busy months. Then it would be bi-weekly or monthly. He didn't promise weekly every month. And then I felt like it should probably also say that it was at no cost to the town. You know what I mean? Because I thought they were important things to capture in the minute. And then the only other thing I thought was where we talk about the resolution, we don't include or state the resolution in the minute. So should we include it or at least put a link? You know what I mean? It says the resolution in it, says the name of it, but it doesn't give the body. So maybe at least a link for the resolution that we approved to be included in.
You got all that, Brian? Good. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as corrected?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion, questions, concerns? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, the same, abstained, motion carries. Treasurer's report.
Okay, so the general fund, the end of, September already. $1,761,122.49. The water fund ended up with a balance at the end of September, $630,885.11. And sewer fund had a ending balance of $86,697.46. CDs are all town investment CDs. At the end of the month, we have a balance of $2,243,772.77. And in other accounts, we have our restricted funds with a balance of $2,804,850.52. American Rescue Plan Act funds of $3,048,479.07. The water fund has a user fees money market account with an ending balance of $186,404.04. And the sewer fund has a money market account user fee of $101,117.85. That is everything that we have.
Do I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make a motion with a question for Brian.
Mhm.
How's it going with our rescue plans report? We've only been spending the WRA money invoices for that, so
We haven't spent any more
no more for last month or two. So,
since those first two checks that we wrote, I guess, back in July.
no problem with the reporting then.
Do I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any other further discussions or questions?
We have a balance.
Yeah, there's a balance discrepancy between the accounts, but we're gonna work on that.
They had some discussion before.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same.
Opposed.
One. 5 ayes and 1 opposed. Okay, thank you, sir. Okay. Great public comments.
Okay, Brian. Brian's first,
I am first.
only because my height.
There we go.
Wow.
I'll get him afterwards, Brian.
So I am here on behalf of Toma Markson, the Boonesboro Appalachian Trail Committee. We are seeking a letter of support from the mayor and council to be a co-host of an Appalachian Trail Vista Conference in 2025. This will be a conference between the town of Boonesboro, the town of Brunswick, and Harper's Ferry. The main event place will be held at Shepherd, but Boonesboro, Brunswick, and Harper's Ferry have to have some sort of evening event, a hike. Funding isn't coming strictly from the Visitors Bureau, so we're not asking for any funding from the town. In order to apply to be a host, they just need a letter of support.
What?
Not sure.
Not sure yet. But the main conference is going to be held at Shepherd. And they're just looking for someplace to hold an event.
Each of these towns have to bring something of education, a hike, or some kind of event geared to stewardship.
Does it have to
For Boonesboro to do, I mean, part of my trail.
The totals of that's up in the air right now. No. Little events
be,
are,
does it have to be in the town limits? Because like maybe the Park Service would host something.
again, it could be up there.
So not near
I
that
think
count?
Tacoma would do something like a trail hike or cleanup or some sort
Oh, I
of.
think, okay.
Okay.
We'll get this, check out whatever they want to do, we'll get the approval, right?
Absolutely. And it's not gonna be an event like the celebration we had. It's just,
Right now, you just need a letter of support.
Do you have a draft of the letter or something?
I have a Brunswick's letter, if you guys would like
Okay, I
to.
mean, I'll prepare it if you want the mayor's signature.
Well, you're prepared.
Wow.
This is yours.
Did you have Boy Scout?
What's up?
Brunswick's letter's on the back.
Okay.
Uh, I believe the Appalachian Trail Conservancy recommended this to bring the towns of Boonesboro, Brunswick, and Harper's Ferry closer together. Because the two, Brunswick and Boonesboro, feel a bit of feuding going on as to who was the first trail town.
Yes.
It's us.
It was
There's
us.
a few, it's us.
So they want us to mend that little feud that's going on.
Maybe that'll be our event, the first.
Come apologize.
Okay, and how soon do you need this letter?
Natoma informed me that they needed it October 1st.
So
Of 2024?
8 days ago.
2024 or 2023?
So, sooner the better.
We need to make a motion.
Yes, we need to make a
I'll make a
motion.
motion that we endorse this request, and have this letter, I can prepare it, can't prepare it, whatever you prefer, Mayor.
I'm on vacation.
Well, I'll make one tomorrow, with your signature. It doesn't want the rest of the council on it, so. Yeah, so I'll make that motion.
We have a motion to get this letter done. It's ASAP.
I'll second it.
We have a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Same, motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Hey, David Bell. I'm here to ask and discuss 21 St. Paul Street, the RV in the back. I've received a letter or an email this afternoon with sort of an answer saying that the owners had requested additional time and said that they would be in their property by, if they had 30 more days. So now it has been extended that they're allowed in there until October 25th.
Yes, sir.
And I'm a little bit disappointed in that because it originally came to the town's notice that the RV was in the back there on Memorial Day, May 31st. On July 31st, and that was via emails from myself and also Lakin Avenue residents, I found out later. July 31st, I brought it to your attention again in one of these meetings, and the minutes say that staff was going to check on the regulations. October 14th, I came again, and at that meeting, the town carried a motion to send letters giving them 15 days. Well, obviously, that letter took 10 days to go out, and then instead of the 15 days, they were given 30 days. They were given until September 25th. And in the September meeting, one of the council members asked the police chief if there was any update. He said, or Bowen, Mr. Bowen said that they were, unless there were extenuating circumstances, the council should stick with the original September 25th date. And now Mr. Bowen tells me that the owner came in, said that they promised that they would be done in 30 days and would be out of the trailer. Well, the problem with that, in addition to the fact that I don't know if he's aware of how long this has been going on and that the neighbors have had to deal with it, but it also does not address the fact that there's no building permit. So if the man is going to get his property in shape so it can be lived in, he's then doing illegal construction. So that's problematic for me. I know that you have heard at least from one other resident on St. Paul Street, because a group of us were talking about it last week, and frankly, people are getting very tired of it. And the fact that he has been burning lights in there on the second floor from 8 p.m. until dusk or till dawn in the morning. And I guess that's to be either a subterfuge that they're living in there or something, because he's definitely not working in there. And they're not sleeping in there, which I guess you all know since they've been given additional time. But, and one of the neighbors was concerned about it creating a fire, and the houses are so close that she's not amused that that was going on. So, you know, it seems like the council has been very, very slow and has continually changed its mind and not taking into account the people who are affected by it also. They have taken down the wooden fence, and now we get to look at their trailer park back there from the street, and we're not amused.
Anything?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I did grant the extension, and I think I even referenced it in my email that I sent to you. That, I found out after that fact, when he came in and talked to me, it was my second week here, I did not know the history on it. I have since found out the history after I granted the 30-day extension, which I wanted to follow up with a letter to make sure he understood that there will be no more extensions, and that he has to be out of there by the 25th of October.
Why were they given 30 days when the council said 15 to begin with?
I
That
can't
was
speak.
before Drew, and that was because that's what the county required.
But it's
You know,
not a county
It
regulation.
is the county
It's a
regulation.
county
We follow the
The town doesn't
regulations.
have its own
We don't have
regulations.
a regulation.
Our regulations adopt whatever the county standard is.
Well, I contacted the county via email and they said that they would not inspect because the Boonesborough had its own regulation.
We follow their.
Yeah. So,
Okay, well, the
Yeah.
inspector told me differently. I can forward review that email.
No, we believe you. It's not the first time.
yeah, now the
County's
county's not
on
gonna
that, so-
enforce it. We have to enforce it, but we don't have a separate code that says different than what the county does. So that's why.
Okay, so that explains
That's
the
what the
30
attorney-
days. And then we have a new person granting an extension that did not know anything about the history. I mean,
Well, I can kind of explain that. I understand that this has kind of been a long running issue with you guys over on the street. I completely understand where you're coming from. But this is the first time us as a staff has talked to this individual at all to try to work out what we've been trying to work
some of
out.
the council members have talked to him and they've gotten different stories. Every person who has gone up there has gotten a different story.
We understand. I have heard from the council members about that. We granted one, this is the final extension. We've already told the property owner this is the final extension they can have. We do believe that because of the type of work and what's going on there, that it was warranted. We're in very open contact with them now, which doesn't seem to, as a staff, I'm not talking on behalf of the council members, but as a staff, we didn't have much communication with this individual before. We do now. So I just wanted to let you know that we are in communication with them. We did grant this additional 30 days, but it is the last.
Did you know that he was doing all the work without a permit?
No, that's for the county. That was the county permit.
So you're allowing them to do unpermitted work and giving them extension.
Drew, did we talk to them about permitting at all?
I found in the files upstairs that there was a letter that was sent out some months ago about working without a permit. That's one of the issues that I'm looking into to find out what that was and if there was any follow-up on it. But that's one of the reasons where I realized this individual, this is not a first-time hard case story. This is somebody that's working the system and pushing it.
And he also has a house in Hagerstown, which he is getting the homestead credit for, and must be renting it because he's not living in it.
What does that have to do with the property here in Boonesborough?
Well, that is, if he shouldn't be living here, he should be living in the house that he has in Hagerstown.
And we'll start finding him after the 25th of October. The town writes them, issues them a fine, and they have to pay the fine.
Okay, and someone checks on it every day.
Someone checks on it every day, and issuance goes out every day. So
What
$100
were his letters sent via certified mail? I don't want that to come up.
When the fines go out, they go certified mail, not the warning letter.
So he can say he never got the one.
He can say that whatever he wants, but he's gonna get the fine. And I talked to him personally. So, I mean,
So you're fine with it all being unpermitted work.
I didn't say that. I said I just found out about that, and I'm digging into it to find out, was there follow-up? Did he get a permit? And those issues.
I can tell you he doesn't, because if you have a
Well,
permit,
that's great, but I have to verify that.
you're rather confrontational. Okay, fine, I said my piece.
Mr. Bell, you here, is everyone on this list with you? David, Anita, Ethan, you're all together? Any of you like to address the council?
No, these resolution and all, I just wondered about how they enforce it.
Just so you all are aware, we are, been aware of this. Mr. Bowen is literally a brand new planner for us, but he's new to us, but not new to the business. We were
I understand that point.
Tremendous credentials.
Yeah, it seems to me if he's new, he should check on these things before he gives another 30 days.
Okay, well, yeah.
Well, that was approved by me as town manager, so that was not on
The additional 30 days to October.
Yes,
But you've known the history.
I do, I stand by that extension. It's something that we talked to them directly about, we have open communication with them now, it is different. And we have told them directly that this is their last extension.
What happens with the trailer then? Is that allowed to keep staying there?
The trailer can stay there, but it can't be hooked up to utility. And, that's one of the things, I think he's hooked up to the clean out in the backyard. So, I mean, that'll be the next thing, disconnecting the services so that he can't run it. And that will probably require talking to the police. Because you're gonna have to go onto the property, you're gonna have to physically disconnect. But
Yeah.
is the sewer up front? We've got a sewer line coming out of that thing going into the ground somewhere.
Sewer lines up front, on High Street.
I'm talking about the trailer, it's got the orange pipe coming off the sewer.
Going to a tank or something?
I don't know what it's going to, but it goes into the ground somewhere.
Well, the house clean out sewer is out front of the street.
Yes, and in November, he tried to dig in. He dug up the side of the house and tried to connect in with that.
Mr. Bell, what is it you're looking for? You just want to see him not living in the RV? Is that your primary concern? And he's operating with a permit? Are those the two issues that are your concern?
Yes.
Okay. We'll make sure I understand what specifically it was.
And I mean, the fact that they, it's like even before it was brought to the council's attention on May 31st, he has been living in there since November of last year. And he's owned the property since November of the preceding year. So it's not like the neighbors we don't feel that we're being rash or uncaring, but when you have someone who has the property and is gaming the system, it just doesn't sit well with you.
Well, I'm a little concerned about where he's got that going to though, in the ground now.
I'll find out more.
Okay,
Well,
thank you.
the neighbor who lived, one of the neighbors mows back there with her riding lawnmower. And she said during the summer, the hot months, the stench was terrible.
Go check that out.
You have to meet with group and then we'll walk over. I'll go check.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else there?
No, sir, they're packaged.
Okay, we have a presentation, 3+1 cash best. Ruth and Garrett, floor is yours. Come forward. Whatever you would like to do, whatever more comfortable, easiest for you guys.
Another public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry, where's he signed up?
You signed up like
Keith Barnes.
What's that?
Keith Barnes.
No, sir.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought
You're not blind.
No, that's okay. I thought you were with that group there.
I understand. I'm the mayor of Woodsboro, Maryland, so I understand the public comment section too. My name is Heath Barnes. I just come out to introduce myself. I'm actually running for Congress out here in Maryland, Congressional District 6. And just to the town meetings to introduce myself. Like I said, I'm the mayor of Woodsboro, Maryland, small town up in Frederick County. Not a political speech, so I won't give you a chance to introduce myself. And I will stay for the rest of the meeting because I want to see, kind of what the towns are going on. And I have cards here afterwards that I'll give out to council. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You mean Burgess, right?
Burgess, but if you say Burgess, I don't know what you're talking about.
I do.
We know John very well. Yes, now, sorry about that.
No problem, not at all.
Now, wait a minute.
That's okay. Just want to say my name is Garrett. This is my wonderful colleague group. And we're from 3+1. And thank you so much to the town manager, Mr. Mayor, all the
council members for the opportunity to come and talk to you today about something that we're really passionate about, which is helping bring new revenue to the bottom line of towns, cities, counties. Before I go into that, I just want to say I love coming to companies. I especially love as a minister's son when they're involved. And particularly when you see what's going on around the world, being reminded of a democracy and how it operates and works is just something that gives me a lot of hope as a young person. So thank you all for everything you do. If there's one thing we hear from Alaska and Hawaii to New York and North Shores of Jersey, it's municipalities saying if there's opportunity to try to identify new sources of savings and income without adding any burdens to taxpayers, that would be a great thing. So about 12 or 13 years ago, our founders, who were former bankers and worked in public finance, came forward with an idea to provide new data resources to municipalities that can give them more confidence and information on how to earn more on their cash. Now, I'm sure a lot of us have heard how interest rates have gone up precipitously over the past year, more than they have in decades. And that's given public entities an incredible opportunity to earn more on their cash. And so that's what 3+1 does. We collect data that's provided by your financial partners. We aggregate it, we stress test it, we send it through a risk management assessment and provide it to your team here to identify how we can help you all earn and save more on your cash. Not only is our product being the best practice by the National Association of Counties, but also the Maryland Association of Counties has encouraged us to go out to municipalities across Maryland because they have also viewed it as best practice, and we have an exclusive partnership with the Maryland Association of Counties. So our job, again, come in on an ongoing basis every quarter, assess your liquidity position and identify how we can help you earn and save more on your cash. Typically, and that we work with the size of Greensboro earn about 30% more than they would have without CashVest, which is our product. And it's a $9,900 service. It's guaranteed one-to-one. So if we can't help you at least generate an additional $9,900 in revenue or savings, then you don't pay anything. So $9,900 is guaranteed one-to-one. If we can't help you earn or save at least that, then you don't pay anything. We would love to try and identify how we can help you work with your existing partners to find out what opportunities they have to help you earn and save. So we collect, to start with, 12 months of bank data. Every debit, every credit that flows through every bank account that you have, all of your investment data, your CDs that you have. We stress test that, identify how long you had every dollar in deposit. You had it for a month, 2 months, 3 months, a year. And then we help match the time horizon of your cash, how long you have it for, a month, 2 months, 3 months, a year, with what the marketplace says you can earn on that cash. And right now, there are some incredible opportunities available for public entities. We think it's really important, one, that you follow state code and you use it as a guideline to help you earn. And also yield is very attractive, but the connection between safety and yield is important, and that's really important. So if we can help you, use your existing partners, identify how we can help you earn and save more, be a new resource to your team here, and add new revenue to your bottom line without it costing you money, because we don't charge you anything unless we can provide a benefit. That's the goal that we have.
Yeah, no, I think they're encompassed everything pretty well. And something else that we like to add is you all are going 100 miles per hour in so many different directions, and if we can, and we're going in that one direction. So if we can help streamline the process and help you all earn and save more, certainly.
questions?
So you don't sell a product, you just do this analysis.
Yes,
And we use our current bankers or whatever.
yes,
And the $9,900, is that an annual charge?
yes, sir.
Okay. So you said something about there's some incredible opportunities right now. I'd like to find those myself. What would those be?
The first step in identifying if we can help the town out, we don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. On average, we can help entities earn, say, 30% more than what they were before us. But we want to first take a look at the investment policy, and our goal is to identify what the guardrails are and how we can work within what your benchmark rates are. So sometimes it includes going out for a rate quote request in your county, in your area, and finding out what different opportunities are coming your way. Those are things that we do on an ongoing basis. We try to make it competitive market. So again, the entities that we'll work with know that your cash is valuable, because it is. Prime right now is over 8.5%, the rate that banks lend to best credit customers. And I'm sure you're not, unlike a lot of other public entities around the country who aren't earning anywhere close to that, right? And a lot of that's due to federal requirements, the restrictions, the safety restrictions on your funds. So if we can provide your partners, financial partners, with additional data that allows them to feel more confident to deploy that money in your communities and put it to work, that a lot of times in turn means they can pay you more on your cash. And so we don't sell anything. We aren't investment advisors. We're not a bank. We don't take deposit of any cash. We think it's super important that you don't have a company that's telling you how much cash you have and what the marketplace says it's worth, while at the same time charging you on that. So we just charge a flat subscription fee.
I'm sure you find towns and municipalities, people all over the place don't pay attention to their money. They have $500,000 making a 10% in a savings account. We don't have that going on here. We pay pretty good attention to what's going on.
Do you have any Maryland clients?
No.
I guess my biggest concern would be our 12-month history and the next 12 months are such
They're gonna be
different,
drastic. Yeah.
drastically different. You know, I mean, we receive money, the American Grant Fund or the American Rescue Fund, and then we've got several big, construction projects going on. So the fact that we've been holding money and saving for so long is now it's all going to get sucked out the door quite quickly because of what we've got going on. So I don't know, you know what I mean? Like our past trend is not going to be what's happening in the next 24 months.
I personally think that's more of a reason to try to figure out your average revenues or normal revenue sources outside of federal funding and things like that, and our savings that we have in the bank right now for these large projects. We're finding our normal revenue sources and figuring out. I'm sorry.
I think we know what our own revenue sources are.
No, I'm saying only looking at those. Like, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
We can't, the money in the bank that we have for a lot of it and for ARPA funding and things like that, not always gonna be there.
Correct.
But that's what I mean by that makes it more important, in my opinion, to look at our normal revenue sources.
Yeah. Like I know last year report, you know what I mean? Because we have the big flux of income coming in for our personal property, for our real estate property taxes now. We, tend to come out of the general fund and put it in the CD for 30, 60, 90 days, whatever. Provide that different.
So I think what Mary Lee might be saying is cash flow analysis part of what you do.
Yes.
Okay, I think you can say that specifically.
And I might also suggest too, because I think that's a great one. You're absolutely right. You wouldn't be dissimilar to every other public entity, right? That
Right.
American Rescue Plan dollars. But now, especially going into maybe a climate of a little bit more financial uncertainty, a lot of entities are coming to us and saying, hey, look, things are going to change and quick. We want to make sure we have a plan in place where we can count on what can be counted and really are understanding clearly and closely, and it's a transparent process that we're welcome to share, obviously, with all of you, to make sure that we have all the data aligned and ready to go so we can take advantage of this. We know what capital projects generally we have coming. We know what we're gonna be spending money on. We know what our big expenditures are. But because interest rates are so high today, being able to earn more, even if you have money for a very short period of time, can mean for an entity the size of Blue Firm, maybe $150,000, maybe $100,000 annually. So it's a really good return.
Can you give me an idea of one product that we might use that we are not currently using? I'm just curious.
It might be US Treasuries. The safest and most liquid securities in the world, but there's a lot involved with that, right?
Right.
How much you invest in them, the mechanisms involved with that. Do you use a custodian for that, or do you purchase it and safekeeping in the name of the town? So those are some of the complexities that we want to be able to work with you and your team on to identify what's the easiest, what's going to make the most sense, and what's going to provide the best result, if it is something that you want to do that.
So we still would be working with our local banks as we're working with now. We wouldn't be taking anything from them.
Yeah, keep your current providers. We believe in baby steps. So a lot of times we say, hey, let's look at what we have right now and see how we can maximize what we have using the current providers. And then some things that come back to us maybe a couple of quarters later or a year later and say, okay, let's see what other markets have. And so when that entity comes to us and asks us those questions, we bring those opportunities to the forefront.
Brian, do you have any questions? These are town clerk.
So you mentioned treasury. So part of your analysis must be how liquid does the money have to be? We might have money that we don't need for a couple of years, maybe, but we might have some we need next month. So you wouldn't want to put that in T-bills or something.
Correct. And that's why the data is so important. Sometimes the reason why we don't mention cash flow right out of the gate is because the difference between cash and liquidity sometimes can be stark. Like, for example, when you're writing a check, for all intents and purposes from your general ledger perspective, from a cash flow perspective, that money is gone. But it hasn't cleared the bank. It still has to be collateralized. It may or may not be earning interest. So kind of melding those two perspectives together provides a lot more confidence and information that oftentimes leads to more revenue.
And this is a monthly service that I hear you mentioned way back in.
Quarterly.
Okay.
It's 9,900 a year.
And now if you make a suggestion and we don't take it, then that's not gonna go against our 9,900, right?
So
It's
that's
like part of our, like we work with the local bank for various reasons. If you wanna send us to another bank and we don't take it,
Yeah.
then you're gonna say, well, we could have saved you money. Now we have to see.
we're not going to do that. That you certainly have my word on that would just be unreasonable in my opinion. Working with local governments. You have mentioned that you want to work with your local providers. That probably, if that's something that you want, we'll just make sure that's known up front. And so we'll work within those boundaries.
So contractually, what do you need to do there? Your commitment, you need to want some, put out fees, anything.
We have a professional services agreement, and it states the guarantee. We can't show you that we're going to say at least $9,900. And then we aggregate that 12 months worth of data. We can get as much data as your banks provide us. I mean, I was just talking to one of the nation's largest entities. I said, well, our bank can provide you 5 years of data. Great. The bigger the sample size, the more accurate the data is. So we'll take as much data as you want. Typically, entities say, let's just start with 12 months. And then we validate it, stress test it, and bring you the results.
So here's one for you. If you make this $8,000, we owe you nothing because it's part of the 9,900. But what about if you make $10,000? We owe you 10,000, or do we put 9,900, or?
If we can show you a $9,900 benefit, then we show you.
Okay, so we made $100 in that case.
Show us or take it.
I'm sorry.
Well, if if you show us the benefit, or do we actually take the benefit? I mean, that's
Yeah,
Yeah.
either or, yeah. We're gonna show you within your ground rules. That's why we take a look at your investment policy. And we'll have a meeting. If you say, hey, these are all the only providers we want to work with, then we'll make you that commitment that the opportunity will be within those providers. Now, if you say, you only get a chance with one provider, probably have to do a little bit more investigating on my side and take a look at what that provider is, probably work with them, what type of opportunities there are. And if you say, hey, we're not gonna change anything, that's one story. But a lot of entities say, look, we really are open to identifying how we can save and earn more, and we're willing to see whatever the marketplace has to offer, given the data that you put. So we're willing to just take a chance and find out how we can benefit the taxpayers.
I'm not prepared to make
meaning.
a decision. I mean, I appreciate what you're saying, because I've
Yeah.
never do that on my own personal investment.
We can.
It's gonna be for more discussion on our side, which I'm sure you can understand, but I mean, I think it's interesting.
I mean, I'd like to have a reference outside of Aurora, New York, and New York, you know what I mean? I don't feel like we have much in common
Do
with
you
those.
have any municipalities on their side, say 3,600 people that you deal
Yeah.
with?
Yes,
Budget size.
and I can send you those references.
Okay, could you please?
Absolutely.
Send them to Jared, county manager. I can appreciate that. That way we got apples to compare with. Because I imagine both of these municipalities, Leroy and Rory's bigger than us. I'm not sure where Leroy is, but I imagine they're bigger municipalities than us.
I would be happy to send you
Okay,
references, absolutely.
appreciate it. And then we can discuss it. If you got any more questions, we can contact either one of you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Public Works Superintendent, Greg?
Okay, we'll start with the park. The handicap pavilion that was hit during the rainy days will be replaced by spring of this coming year. Pernex Corporation, signed the contract, they're gonna take care of the insurance. I don't know if you guys noticed with Christmas tree down there, we planted a couple years ago that you like so much, it's completely brown and dead, so I think you and Kate just get another one.
Yeah.
Do y'all want a bigger one? Is that
Yes.
Charlie Brown
Where's
tree
the
that we
Charlie
have?
Brown one? Bigger.
I'm gonna go up here to the Christmas tree farm and see if maybe she'll donate us one.
Yeah, they said they would before. Yeah.
The only thing we might have to pay for if we get one big enough is the state to spade it out.
Yeah, they can do it.
But I'll send an email out, whatever it costs, I'll let you know. I'll get Jared, I'll let you know. This is pretty brown. We need to get full-time Christmas in first.
Yeah, well, how big a tree you plan on getting?
71.
Oh, we can do that.
Like the one was donated to us last year. that I
Yeah,
put the
that's
pipe in
what I
there,
was
that was
referring
so beautiful.
That was a perfect size.
Yes.
Because you don't want to get too big, because then we got, get more lights.
So maybe the Christmas tree place will give us one to plant and one to, you know,
Yeah, that's
put
good.
up for this year, you know, or
Yeah,
just
exactly.
figure Charlie Brown,
Yeah,
like.
that's what the park board was talking about. Maybe even, Jeff, I think, was gonna go up there and ask too.
I'll write up this week. I'll find out.
They were willing to do it a few years ago.
If they won't donate, I got a can of John Deere green spray paint, to help turn that tree into like a Christmas spirit.
Not that one. That's beyond
Charlie.
Yeah.
The Sycamore Run walkthrough meet, Councilmember Kitchen, Drew, and Steve Oder went, walked through it, everything looked good, they gotta clean up the ponds. The ponds before we take them over next year, and the others has to go out there and do it. They got a lot of weeds and trees and stuff they got to pull out of. Everything else looked fine though, everything's fixed.
Except for whether we need yield signs or stuff.
Yes. That came up in the beginning when that
Yeah,
development was
it's
first built.
come out a lot,
You don't put a stop sign in the roundabout.
Yeah.
but they're not roundabouts, I don't think.
They are
Oh,
roundabouts.
So
They are
Don't put a
roundabouts.
stop
the
sign.
debate,
You
okay?
don't need
All right.
stop signs.
Everything on the sewer
We're gonna-
side is running fine, flowing good. On the water side, we finished all the valves, everything was blacktop back today. We put the new water line in at the police department. Unfortunately, we had to take a bunch of sidewalk out, to get the water line in there. We replaced all right rear and quarter walls. Everything's finished. And just so you guys are aware, the water meters are getting really hard to get. Tony knows this. I've let the DMVC know, but they're like, I ordered some in the middle of June, and not just now, December is when they're gonna get shipped out. And that's our cash register, and we got a bunch that are full bed. I got a whole laundry list, and once I get them in, they're all gonna be gone again. It's just, it started during COVID, is when I noticed it started. And it just, and there we're sole sourced it with Neptune. We can't go with any other company, because it won't work with our software. To read it. You know. Other than that, everything else is good.
Good. Thank you, Greg.
Yes, sir.
Anybody have any questions of Greg?
I'll throw something out there.
Oh, one more thing. That light, I'm just waiting on Reader to fix that light. Somebody pulled the whole breaker and everything. It's out of the box. Pulled the wires and all.
Oh, you mean the middle light?
The one at
Down there
the community
beside the
center.
Community center.
Yeah.
He's aware, he came down. Chick's a hard guy to get to come down and do anything for you, but he does come down. Heck, I'm gonna charge us. He does it for a member, so I just try to stay with him as much as I can.
Somebody pulled the breaker and all
They
that.
pulled the whole front of the panel off and screwed it back, pulled the whole 50-inch breaker and everything out of it.
Somebody really wanted the breaker.
Was that a pavilion?
It was right beside the community center. I was gonna come out and talk to you. He just saw me down there 2 days ago. Right beside the community center. The big pole there.
We might catch something on
Go
that.
back and look, see where you can find it.
We just don't know it
When
did.
did you notice it?
When's the last time Denny Reader was in town?
It was out Monday. It was out Monday.
It was out late.
Last Monday?
It was, he texted me about it. So I'm
Yeah,
here.
we went this Monday, but that's
Sorry.
out there.
It's been at least a month.
Oh, we won't go back that far.
I'll let you know the date, Amy. I got it on my phone.
All right.
Anything, I know that's done by the museum, forward out.
There's one there that says do not enter.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting on the do not enter sign. The county's making some signs.
Like no trucks, you mean?
The one with the new trucks on, I yanked out.
Yeah.
There's another one beside the building that says do not enter. That one's getting
Okay, good. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it, and the museum appreciates it.
replaced. Yep, you will.
How about the signs to the, walking path that Wes talked to you about?
The signs, the kid signs?
No, to keep people from driving on the walking path.
Oh, yeah, I ordered them went through the county. If people's cutting through, because now we're getting all the traffic from the bypass. So they're coming up to the police department, they're cutting down through the police department, driving right across all of our walking trails and cutting up through Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, I saw that once. I said something earlier about that.
Put
That-
bollards in.
So I
Well,
got,
the parking
Yeah, that was.
truck
something
actually
quick,
went right through the.
We're investigating.
The Boy Scout building and,
We're
I
investigating.
didn't catch the guy in my work truck through the grass. That's how fast he was going through the park. I was just trying to get his tag number, but I did get the kind of truck and she was able to find that. So it was.
I know who it is.
Is it that white truck?
Yeah, it's a black.
No, it's a
There
black.
was a little white pickup that was doing it too.
So Eric, you have Kathleen? I just, wanted to thank Greg for allowing me to go on the walk with him. It's educational to go out in the field. He taught me something, that the sewer clean house down there, there's a lot of it's in the sidewalk, and it shouldn't be in the sidewalk. So that's something we have to pay attention to when we approve future site plans.
Wherever the plans were playing, yeah, not only the driveway, short of the clean house.
Yeah, the driveway is too short, cars hanging out in the sidewalk, and the sewer clean outs in the sidewalk. I never saw them in the sidewalk before, that was the first time, so thanks for the invite.
So I did want to address, I'll cover it in my comments from the BMUC minutes, but the BMUC acted on an urgent matter that Greg was talking about on these water meters because of the backlog 3 to 6 months. And there was a cost increase of the water meters as well. So the BMUC voted unanimously by email for Greg to order 35 additional meters so that we can ensure that we have enough on hand. And we looked at the funds and we decided we would use the water fund user fees accounts that we have at Middletown Valley Bank, because it's like be like 11 something.
Yeah.
So,
I've ordered them. There's no arrival date on that.
right. So I did want to make you all aware of that. So that is that.
And I did have to weld a meter and shut, in case you guys heard. We have a customer that's been just hounding the vet about it. They're not using that amount of water, and they put their water meters in the basement. They're getting in a tamper with the water meter, and we can't prove it. So I just hacked the water meter shut, so now they can't get back to it. Things the guys get there, all they gotta do is take a hammer and break the well. But if somebody breaks the well,
It's great. They're in there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy.
You gotta do things you have to do. Thank you, Greg. Anybody else got any questions, Greg?
Pete,
On the water side, we're running pretty smooth, everything's working great. Did get a hold of Phillips, they're gonna come on the 25th of this month to finally finish the well. So we hopefully by the end of the month, will be at the beginning of the week, first week of November. We should hopefully be done so around there. We will have to do some testing to the layers and stuff to verify, and make sure that the water's good for, be treated and done. On the sewer side, we're doing pretty good too. We just got a couple of small issues we're dealing with, but nothing big, nothing to worry about. Yeah, moving on out there with the buildings, they've been started erecting all the storage buildings, and all the poles up just about. They got the foundation in for the press building itself. They're going to tie in, drill through the boat digesters and put a pipe in through there and put some valves on there until they get the line dug down through the back and dig it all up, hook it into the building once you get that all hooked up into it. We're moving on pretty good out there now. It's really working, so you guys get a chance to just take a ride out there and you'll see it looks totally different now.
Yes, it does.
It's a mess, but it's different.
Hey, did you send me that email for the change order?
What's that?
Did you ever send me that email for the change order?
But other than that, everything's good. We're doing good.
Good. And by the way, good luck to you on your surgery Thursday. He's getting his rotator cuff.
About time.
About time, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been put off for too many,
6 weeks over there.
good luck.
Do what they say, man. Don't mess. I'm telling you, I had shoulder surgery. Do what they tell you.
Yeah,
Get
absolutely.
it?
You got a good crew down there. So,
And Denny
Yeah.
Reader.
so good luck to you. Anybody else have any questions of Pete? The situation over Keys on 34, but that sort of didn't have any effects on your system. Saturday evening.
That's county.
Yeah, I know. It's
Sports made it, don't go
Keys
to.
don't sewer.
Oh, yeah, there's one other thing too, I forgot to mention. We will, Southern Corrosion will be coming here anytime soon. It's supposed to be here by the end of last week, or beginning of this week coming up. We're going to be shutting that tank down, and they're going to be solely, Boonesborough, it's going to be between the Boonesborough and Keysville for 3 to 5 days. So just wanted to let you know that's going to happen.
Hopefully we get some rain to keep that reservoir full.
And we're doing good, overall, good. So.
Good, that's good. Thank you, sir. Good luck to you. Keep us posted. Town planner, Drew?
Hey, in your agenda are planning reports for the end of the month. That's going to be a standard report you're going to get from me. You get 2 every month. Planning Commission gets them also, as well as the town manager. And it basically is just kind of a review of the month. It's the opportunity for you to see what I've been working on, or the things that have come across my desk, et cetera. You want elaboration at these meetings, or you get the agenda and have questions, feel free to ask. But my goal here is to keep you updated as to what's happening on the planning side and keep you updated what's happening on the zoning side. They are 2 separate things. People like to call them planning and zoning, but they're 2 separate things. So that's why you get 2 separate reports. So looking first at the planning report for September, we are working with the Planning Commission. We're working on goals and draft schedules for review and approval. Going to have some tentative dates with meeting with the council, meeting with VMUC, meeting together. We need to get those things moving along. So that's going to be happening. The big one as far as developments, annexations, I did reach out, talk with David Lyles. David Lyles and Lyles Developer are going to be representing the 2 Flook properties on either side of 68 and TT&K. They're going to do one, they would like to do one master plan working together. So I've had 2 meetings with them on that issue, and that's going to be coming before you. I will tell you that them combining together and doing as one master plan is a great benefit to the town. Because instead of looking at subdivisions in little pieces, you're going to get to see the whole 196 acres and think about your road connections, think about your parks, think about your walking trails, think about your utilities. they've already decided if they're gonna do the project as a whole, they're gonna run a new interceptor line straight to the wastewater treatment plant. All the other previous plans done by WRA and all the rest assumed that the flow was going to go down through Della and all the rest of there. Well, we know we have terracotta there, we know we've got all this upsizing of pipe. There's a couple of $100,000 in that report of recommendations and improvements to be able to handle those flows coming down there. Well, if they're gonna do this as a single project, and they're gonna run one main interceptor all the way down, because TT&K property goes right to the wastewater treatment plant, right behind Schaefer Park. It's a straight dead shot. That means all of the improvements up in here to handle all this additional flow. I'm not saying improvements aren't gonna be necessary there. There's still general maintenance, don't misunderstand, but you're not gonna have to go from an 8-inch line to a 12-inch sewer line, because they're gonna run a separate interceptor, which is nice because then you're not gonna be, tearing up into there and causing all those kind of issues. So that's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. So we're just trying to identify the pieces. It's on both sides. One, does the council want to see that? Do you want to see an overall plan? Do you have a concern or a problem with them going in and providing a big plan for you all to look at and comment on? Is that a concern? And then they have on their own internal, can they all work together? Because they're going to have to work together with their individual pieces. For example, the Fluke annexation on the east side of 68 or south side. I don't know which one you call it.
I would call it east.
Okay, call it east. I usually go by alternate 40, even though it's going north and south, but that piece down there, his annexation agreement says he doesn't have to pay one dime for that road. He gave you the right of way, he deeded it to you, but you don't have to pay a penny for it. It doesn't benefit Lyles or TT&K. So they're willing to build the road. So there's positive things that happen out of these where, he needs the road to be able to start building the phases. And he can't start at that end, he's got to start at this end. So he's going to build the road, of which the annexation agreement says you don't have to contribute to the road. Well, if he wants to contribute to the road. But these are all details we're working through. But the big question is, does the council want to see an overall plan? Are you okay with these 3 separate pieces of property working together as one to do a cohesive plan for that part of the town? That's the question I have for you all to think about. I'm not asking you to give me an answer. I'm not saying you've got to make a motion. I'm just saying, if you have concerns about all that working together and that's just too much to think about, because I will tell you in my conversations with them, I'm like, this is like a 15-phase, 15-year plan. They're like, yes, this is a long-term plan over 10 years. And then we talked about different things like maybe the town should consider a PUD, planned unit development. It's something that you could use for big subdivisions that, build out over time. Because sometimes when you do big subdivisions like that take 10 years to build, you may do something in phase 1 that you get to phase 3 and say, that was a terrible idea. Why did we do that? Don't do that, change it. You could do something over here. There's just a lot of pieces that I wanted to think about, but none of them matter if the council is not interested in looking at it as a total. I think it's a great benefit because you guys could really look at your road connections. I mean, your traffic on Main Street, like I told you, it's worse in Middletown, a lot worse in Middletown. Starting to get that Warrior Boulevard to start connecting to some things and making a difference, along with the Chase 6 element is important. So that's something for you all to think about. That's the big one I want you to come away with on the planning commission, because I'm still working with these people to see if that's something that they want to do. They've got to work out their own individual stuff that has nothing to do with us. We're not the ones getting the bank loans. We're not the ones doing all this. We're not dealing with heirs and grandchildren and all that. That's not our problem, but we want to get the roads in and the other infrastructure.
So how many houses is that, Drew?
How many houses? Well, in the early days of talking to developers, what do you think it is? It's 1,000 units. And I just started laughing and I said, it can't be 1,000 units. I said, I took your acreage. I took out 20%, because you got to take out 20% for the road widths, the stormwater management ponds, the parks, all that stuff. You're left with the developable acres, and I applied smart growth, 3.5 units per acre, right? You don't have that density around here really anywhere. But I applied that. Maximum number of units was 551. So I don't know where the 1,000's coming from, but this is what the developers do. They come in 1,000. I said, you know, that's never gonna get approved. And they said, yeah, we figured that. I said, well, I'm telling you, if you want your plan to be approved, this is what I told them. You must have a phasing plan that builds it out over years. A slow, steady, progressive plan. Council's willing to hear that. If you want to come in here and build 200 houses a year and get it all done in 2 years and get the heck out of here with all your money, we're not interested. Not interested. It can stay farmland. We're not interested. But if you're interested, well, then here are the things that are going to need to be done.
So just one question, if you're gonna tie these properties together, does that mean a new developer's agreement as well? I mean, it's something, there's gonna be a lot, no? Okay.
What would happen is, if everybody's in agreement with moving forward with this, we will work on the plan, get a plan that the developer likes, the town likes, everybody's okay. Then we will go back and look at the annexations agreement, and we'll have to amend each of them correspondingly to what everything that everybody agrees to. Remember, you can't modify the annexation agreement unless both parties agree.
Correct.
So that's the key. But I think they know it's a benefit for them. They know it's a benefit for them. The housing market is so undersupplied right now. The only thing that's holding things back are interest rates. But even at the interest rates that they're at today, the demand is so high, they can sell the houses. And from what I heard today, Dan Ryan doesn't have anything in the pipeline, nothing. And that gets them real nervous, because if they don't have houses, they're planning 5, 6, 7 years out. And so this fits with their plan as well. So I think there's not a lot of situations where you get into opportunities where the developer and the town can benefit, but this is one of those. This is one of those.
Gonna be the builder.
That's who they're proposing to use, that's in the initial discussions. I assume that's who it's going to be.
It allows them to do the commercial part.
And Lyles will do the commercial.
Gotcha.
Now, again, you need to, think about this again. Not asking for a decision, but if anyone has any concerns or think that this is a bad way to go, please let me know what your concerns are, because I think it's good for the town to do it that way, and I'm going to proceed that way unless you all tell me different. Now, I mean, there's going to be all kinds of approvals along the way, so it's not like you make one and you're done. There's going to be hundreds of them as we go through this, but it's just letting you know what's going on. Major subdivision, we did meet up at Preserve with the Easter days. We're calling the bond. I mean, we went over what was not done. I mean, they had their insurance representative there. This is their part of the process. He's somebody that comes out. He's evaluating it. We went over all the stuff that wasn't done. They have it all. Mr. Easterday asked if he could hold off one more time. He was getting a bank thing. We said, absolutely not. Jared told him, look, if you get the money, and you get a contractor out here before the bonding company gets here, great, fantastic. But if you're not here with a contractor, it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't. So we're going through that process. Sycamore Run, we did the final walkthrough as Greg mentioned. St. Paul Street subdivision, that's something that Commissioner Kitchen brought up. He's holding the water and wastewater allocations on that subdivision.
Yeah, I noticed in your reports you had, it's under review. Well, it's under review because I have it on my table.
I know that. I was trying to use professional. So that's a report. Is there any questions on the planning?
Not questions, but just a comment. You attended the BMUC meeting and you know what the BMUC request was that I was bring up tonight. Okay, so everything that we're talking about is all wonderful, but with the amount of water loss that we're experiencing, the BMUC is requesting a moratorium at the moment because we don't know what availability is at the moment. And Drew gave us some really great data, and it proves the point that we're producing a hell of a lot more than we're processing at the waste plant. So where's it going? And until we can figure out, well, we pretty much know that the reservoir is a concern, but until we have that reservoir under control, we don't really have allocation. And we've also got the other issue with King Road. I'm shocked that y'all got to meet Steve because I've only called him like 8 or 9 times and I've still gotten no sit down with him and Susan.
Yeah, he said she moved to Georgia.
And I did talk to Eric about that after the walkthrough, and he said that she's almost impossible to get here. Right, is what he wants, but that's neither here nor there. I think they're just being a little evasive, but we'll get there. So, but I just want to bring that up. I mean, I understand everything that Drew's working on, but it's gonna have to go hand in hand with what the BMUC knows we can handle.
There has to be confidence in the BMUC as well as the town board. Okay, I mean, that has to be. And I will keep providing you data until you feel comfortable with the numbers. And I understand that you've had a lot of staff people here tell you a lot of different numbers. That's why I reference everything is where I'm getting the data and basically want you to learn the process as well, so you feel comfortable with it when you're looking at the numbers. I believe, as I've said from the beginning, you have the bricks and mortar for the development that you have slated. You got the bricks and mortar, you just gotta fix the reservoir, we've gotta clean up a couple of other things. But you have it, okay? You have it, but we just gotta get some things in.
So to follow on that a little bit, it was actually me that started that. Because of all the discussion in the Boonesboro-Keysville Water Board, all the discussion about King Road that we just don't know, all the discussion about the reservoir leakage, but yet I sat in the planning commission meetings and I have a whole list of things here where people were requesting service for water. And I'm like, just stop. They're sitting in there approving stuff. We don't even think we have the capacity, especially if King Road comes on. So I suggested in the BMUC, just stop. Common sense here, just stop. So they made a motion and it got a second and they said, send it to Marin County. So here it is. So I don't know how that goes tonight. Now, do we make a motion and second it here, or does it go to the workshop or the next Marin Council? I'm not sure.
Well, I will say just real quickly, I know Drew talked to you guys about this already, but we are currently working on getting you not only kind of real-time numbers, but we're kind of working on categories of numbers, estimated numbers as to, when Pete gets his next numbers for the reservoir, he's going to come in and talk to me and Drew and try to figure out what we think the leak actually is currently. So there are ways to figure out current numbers, but also what our capacity really is when we are able to fix some things or get some of these wells online, things like that. So it's not just going to be one flat number. We will have categories of real time if this is fixed or if this is not fixed. And I think that'll be the big help person to be able to look at that.
I forgot to mention. You have to do the full one.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, sir.
The zoning report's the second one. So if you have anything on the zoning report and that one for the zoning, Board of Appeals, I'll let you know if there's any hearings. There are none scheduled. We might have one for Mount Nebo Church subdivision. They were here. They were at the planning commission meeting last month. I'll list any violations or complaints I give. 21 St. Paul Street, yes. Butcher Drive, I got the guy living down there too. The accusation from a neighbor, and I got 611 North Main debris storage contacts. I'm pursuing that as well. Down below, once I get a really good handle on the building permits process, which I'm working on right now, you're going to get every month the number of permits that were approved, who they were, did they pay, what was it? And that'll just be a running every month, what permits were approved, so you can see what came through the town. If you have a question, then you can ask, but my thought and all my reports for you all is you all are busy. I try to give you something that you can look at quickly. If something grabs your attention and you want more information, let me know. I will provide more information. But my goal here is not to give you a 75-page staff report. My goal is to give you something that's typically 1 page, maybe a page and a half that you can scan through, see what you need to see, and then ask the questions you need, and then you can move on. So again, this is the first time I'm showing you this report. If there's other information you want to see, if there's more other areas you want to get into, please let me know, and I'll include those on the report. It'll change over time as we have different things that are important. But again, I want to have a framework where you can look at it from month to month and you can see progress. That's the whole point.
Are you also keeping track of the big dumpsters that people have to come in and?
Yes.
Okay, good,
I'm learning about those as well as access driveway
right,
things. So these are new to me, so
okay,
I'm learning them. But yes, there's a spreadsheet on that. They've shown it to me,
okay,
but I haven't like dove into it, really understand exactly how these.
okay.
So Drew showed me that last week one day, and first thing I saw was that tech fee $15. And I remember we discussed reviewing those charges annually.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe we need to review them sometime soon because a $15 tech fee is like nothing. So,
Thank you, sir. So, town manager report, Sheriff.
All right, well, I'm not sure if everybody had a chance to take a look at my email from earlier, just kind of briefly updating you on a few of the kind of the more recent and major developments we've had here. Drew kind of talked about the Easter Day meeting we had. Yeah, I mean, that was basically it in a nutshell. It was them trying to argue with us that they need more time and us saying no, proceeding with through the channels we needed to pull that on. So that is currently where it is right now with the bond company. We've provided all the information that they need from us, so now we're just waiting for the steps. J6 connection project, Drew, myself, and the mayor met with their team I guess last week sometime. It was a good meeting. They have basically their full set of construction plans finished. There's a few things on our end that we are working with the county on, as well as a few items that we as a town need to work on, specifically that the house placement, replacing that house. We have funding for that currently, so I'm just trying to make sure all the funding is in place correctly, and then we're going to work on a timeline as far as that's concerned. So that is separate from their project, but we need to do it obviously at the same time, so we can settle together. The Crestview project with all these issues we're having with bolts. We briefly talked about this at the last meeting. In order to complete the project, all the issues we're having up there, give or take about $200,000 is what we're getting a few different costs, but we're thinking it's around $200,000 to complete everything. Now, that is obviously a project we can phase and do certain sections at a time if we need to. My overall plan is the town went after ARC grant before I got here, but it has not been approved yet, but it is in the approval process. This was for the Route 40 bypass project. Now, the amount of money that we are potentially going to be funded is only enough for the first phase of that. Overall, it's nearly a $2 million project. This was a $200,000. So not much in the way of a project, but an idea that we came up with is amending that application to use a portion of it for the pressure reducing valves to Route 40, which is in the current engineering plans. That will help with the pressure. Now, we have a few questions that Greg and Drew and myself had about it last week, and there are a few questions we have for the engineers to make sure it will work properly. But we can do that as a start, as kind of our first phase for that project. And then I'd like to ultimately lump a lot of these water projects into one, the reservoir, the looping projects, and try to get funding for everything, because they have to be done at once. We can't. My understanding is we can't do the reservoir project without also doing these other projects, or we'll be in trouble. So the plan is to try to amend that application to put some of the funding in towards to install the valves. I talked to Greg about that. He thinks his team can go ahead and do that. And then the other portion of that funding and match to go towards completely doing the rescue project. So we don't have to worry about phasing down, digging up the road every couple of months. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If that is something that the council would like me to pursue, we'll talk to ARC about amending that application for in that.
Well, so I think it's a good recommendation to do. I mean, it's just gonna get worse. I mean, we understand that, so, and the cost we have to cover somehow, so.
My concern is if you get part of it fixed and you want to phase the other part in, is that gonna cause pressure and cause it to blow?
No.
Well, that wouldn't be the case, but I mean, the project needs to be started and completed.
We just need to find out the WRA is if we install the PRVs before the bypass, if the pressure will still get from Pete's water tank over to Boothsburg. That's the question you have to ask. And I'll have to rent equipment. I don't have nothing down there to lift the bolts and stuff. I go back and do that. That'd be the worst case scenario. I'd have to rent an excavator like I did Stream Bank.
Who are the contractors out there doing today?
I'm not very, putting the blacktop back over
That's
there.
just blacktop work?
So does Jared need anything else, or just to continue moving in that direction?
Want to make a motion that we apply to amend the,
I mean, I can make the motion that we,
that we.
yeah.
You did.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys would like to do that, or, I mean, honestly, it can be just a discussion, and you can tell me if there's any issues with it. It's not, because the funding hasn't even been approved yet, I'm really just amending our application. And then, once it's potentially approved, then we will discuss the match, because that's gonna be another issue with this grant, because I can't find exactly where, when it was originally applied for, where the match was supposed to come. Now, I have some ideas, so if and when we run into that issue, I do have some ideas, we will discuss that.
Yeah, Jared sat down and discussed with me about the water looping being done at the same time the reservoir, and it's water loss. Every time they open them valves of hydrants to flush out, we're losing thousands of gallons of water. So as far as our loss, just in with the reservoir, so we can loop everything in together and get the funding, which we're going to go after and fight for. Get it all done at one time.
Contractor, they don't have any price in a couple of days. I told you today for the whole wall, everything. What the cost is to get it shipped.
Yeah, for now, I'll just, we can have preliminary numbers in there for now, I'll just amend that. I will need to work for you a little more detail on some of the technical. I'll work with you.
Sounds good. Good on that.
Sorry, I have to put this out. I'm reading it on my phone. Drew, I think, kind of covered this. He and I are working on kind of some major and minor subdivision official process. I know we've talked about that since I started here, having an official process for that. It's a little jumbled and all over the place, who approves what, when do we approve it. So Drew has already started a flow chart for this process. We're going to get a lot more specific as to if it's a major subdivision, a minor subdivision, renovation on a house, what a resident would have to do. If they just want to, like I said, do a renovation on their house or something. And then we will, once that's kind of completed, we'll come to the council, get it approved, go obviously to the planning commission as well. And I'd like to eventually boil that down into something we're gonna put on the website, so people can, residents or developers can look on the website, have a process, have a link to all the forms that they need, just make it a much more streamlined process. That is the plan, that's something we're currently working on, and it'll take a little time to get it exactly where we want, but the broad flow chart will be done, I think. And then lastly, just real quickly, I recently wrote an RFP, kind of a template for the town. We didn't really have a template, it was kind of all over the place depending on the project. I sent it to Ann just because there was some language in there that I wanted to get approved by a lawyer, just to make sure, some insurance requirements and things like that. So once she gets back to me on that, I'll send it out for everyone to take a look at. Again, it will change depending on the project. construction project or engineering, things like that. But the overall template, I think, will benefit us a lot. The documents are part of the template that we send out, so everybody's filling out the same paperwork when they submit it to us, because I know that can be an issue. So I just wanted to bring that up because I'd like to use that going forward for all of our projects.
Great. Sounds like we're starting to head in the right direction.
I think we are. I really do.
Good job. Anybody have any questions, Jared?
Thank you.
Mrs. Chief?
Please don't say that out loud. That's on record now. All right.
You got the report?
Yeah, I do.
About Friday?
Nope, I'll stay right here. For the month of September, we did 89 calls for service, 91 motor vehicle contacts, 0 parking citations, and 2 adult criminal arrests. Some of the noteworthy calls and arrests was on the 11th, there was an accident and an assault on North Main Street. On the 22nd, at 32 South Main, there was an adult arrest for weapons and CDS. And then on the 27th, there was a report of theft of water and charges are pending.
How is that?
Can't really divulge because it's ongoing investigation, but it's still under investigation. On the 3rd, Chief Morgan and Officer Dabler were on hand to assist with the food truck festival. Then for Boonesboro Days, we had Sergeant McKenzie, Officer Dabler, and Officer Ballesteros were around for Boonesboro Days to assist. The parade, we had Officer Ballesteros, Officer Moretti, and Officer Dabler were assisting with the parade. Then on the 19th and the 21st, Chief attended the Mayor and Council meeting and the Public Safety Commission as well. The one thing I forgot to add was Officer Moretti participated, I think it was the 28th, participated in a Pathfinders Complete Stop up at HCC. It was kind of all the allied agencies got together, and it was to assist caregivers of those with special needs or people that were high functioning special needs that didn't know what to expect on a police stop, to kind of give them exposure to that so they knew how to handle it. So he participated in that. He said it was a really well attended event. He said he learned a lot, and they seemed to learn a lot from that as well.
By the way, Officer Moretti, from the hours of 8 o'clock Sunday morning to 10:30 Sunday morning. 4 different vehicles. 4 different vehicles.
That's what he told me. He said, he got one. There goes the mayor. He comes back the other way. Here comes. Yeah, he's out there. He's out there constantly interacting, doing. He's been really good for the department.
He's doing very.
He really has.
He stopped by today, so he's training he's taking, and he's really interested in the job.
Yeah, he's a go-getter. He doesn't like to sit still. He likes to keep moving and be active, and
he's not a kid, he's very
Yeah.
mature and
yeah, the way he interacts with people is amazing. Like some of our more difficult people that we've had to deal with, he's been able to kind of calm the waters. So he's been a good asset to the department. He really
He
has.
went to a DOA in the neighborhood in Crestview and handled it and was outstanding.
Yeah.
I've actually got compliments on him from family members, the way he handled it.
Yeah.
It was very challenging, so.
Yeah, he's
doing very good.
he does well. He really does. He does well.
He represents us very well.
Yes, he does.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Mayor and Council, anybody have any correspondence?
Well, the mayor and I attended the Gift in Boonesboro 15-year anniversary of Terry. Yeah. That was really nice. That was really nice. And then, of course, Howard and I attended my church yesterday for the dedication of the carols. And you have to sing out there in the cold and listen to how many. It was nice. I mean, yeah.
Just one.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Yeah, that was very nice, Joel. And I learned something about the store. I didn't realize she had a little courtyard in the back until Friday. She had most of it outside.
I appreciate you guys going with that. It was a emergency thing and I was out of town. Back 2 weeks ago, so. Same thing with Tony's church.
Any other old business, anybody think of? No. Moving on to new business. Last month, we had Washington County treasurer come to our office, come to our mayor and council meeting. And we made a motion and second to join up, possibly join up with the, letting the county do our taxes. We've learned a little bit more as the process has gone on. One and main thing is the county commissioner hasn't gave their approval yet for this to be done. And it would have to be done with the, even though he's an elected official, it still would have to be done with county employees. And they're not sure where it's going to be a fee or no fee. A lot of things have to be worked out. And then Tony made the motion and Terry seconded. We'd really like to reword that we would like to table. First rescind that motion and then make another motion to table our motion until we find out more of what's going to happen with these through the county commissioners. I understand some other municipalities were told the same thing that we were told, and they're finding out too, the same way we're finding out. Several towns has it in their charter that they can't do that, so Jared has contacted Ann, and Ann's checking our charter, see whether there's anything in our charter saying that we're not allowed to do that either. I didn't think about it either, but I know the city of Hagerstown, Smithburg Smithburg and Williamsport, it's in their town charter that they have to collect their own, so no outsiders can do it, so. We'll have to check there.
We don't know yet if it's a fee that the town has to pay, or does the taxpayer have to pay?
Right. We don't know. We don't know the procedure.
It was advertised as no fee to it.
Yes, it
Well,
was.
yeah, I was gonna say, you made that clear.
Made it very clear that it wasn't gonna cost us anything.
Well, if it's a fee, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, it just depends on.
And any fees.
So I like to have a motion to ask Tony and Terry that they be willing to make a motion to rescind their motion.
I'll make a motion that we rescind the county treasurer collecting our town taxes.
And we have a motion and a second to rescind their commitment for the county treasurer's office to collect their taxes. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Now, do I have a motion to officially table this until we find out more details from the county commissioners?
I'll make a motion that we table the Washington County Treasurer's Office collecting our town taxes until further.
Until we get more information.
Second.
We have a motion to table the decision and wait until we get more information from the county. Any other discussion, questions, concerns? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Thank you all. The only thing else I have, we do have a vacancy for our town election board. After Eric got elected as council member, we will have to replace them. So if any of you all have any suggestion, I have one. I haven't had a chance to contact her. I want to contact Kendra Cole. She currently does the county, and I'll see where she would be interested in it. Also, it's been brought to my attention too, thanks to Jared, we really should have one or two alternates, just in case somebody is sick that day. Day of election, comes up sick or has an emergency and can't be here.
I had a suggestion of one person also, and I did contact her, and she is willing to do it. Jacqueline Martinez. She used to be a chief judge at the middle school with me for years, so she knows the worst part about it all.
Because she.
I mean, the town elections are nothing compared to the county.
Right.
So,
She understands it. We do pay her, we feed her,
Yep.
and it's all that. Okay.
She lives right by the park.
Okay, what's her name again?
Jacqueline Martinez, her husband's involved with the fire company.
Buzzy, you know Buzzy?
Oh.
Yeah, Jackie and Buzzy.
Oh.
You gotta use slang terms.
Everybody knows.
Yeah, Jackie and Buzzy.
Not Buzzer?
Well, it's
Okay, now you said Jackie Buzzer.
Yeah.
I know Buzzy's wife. Okay, fine. I'd like to ask the council to make the appointment of Jackie Martinez Buzzer to fill the replacement for our town election board.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
You want to ask Kendra to be the alternate?
Yes, I will.
That'll be second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. And if anybody think of anybody else that might make a good alternate, let me know. Doesn't hurt to have more than one, just in case an emergency comes up. Good. That's all I have. Anybody else have any new business? Okay. Commission report. Park board. Great.
Okay. The park board welcomed Jamie Burton. Nice lady. Let's go get to meet her. Disc golf. That one of the guys that was actually hosted, he reached out to Lauren Gregg a few weeks ago for the approval of a hole sponsor. Form in a letter, and both Greg and Laura responded indicating that it would be a town council issue. I really don't see it, council issue. Yeah. Yeah. Indicating that approval of a whole sponsor. I don't see a problem, so.
I mean, somebody wants to get a disc golf course, and they're gonna sponsor, give money.
If they want to do
Advertising
it in the town, that's different.
There will be a sign there saying that person sponsored it, wouldn't it?
Right.
Council, do you all have a problem with that? Concerns?
They would give money to the park.
Yeah, money go to the park.
So they're giving money to the town in exchange for, one, just maybe want to get it done, but they would have to sign.
Well, we can look into it because it says no additional details at this point. We can discuss it later. It's
I
like-
do know if you go up and play
Well,
golf at the municipal golf course, you do see signs up there where such and such donated this whole.
And that's Hagerstown City property, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not initially opposed, there might need to be some. Remember how we had the incident with the painting on the windows? You know, for the.
Oh, we would have to approve, yeah, do something.
So, you know what I mean, we wouldn't want to sign up.
They have to get the park board to
Review it.
review it and write a letter to Ann, and they have to stand for legal terminology on how they could go through with something like that.
I mean, if you do it at the school, like, you know,
Yeah.
on the ball field or signs or fences,
Yeah.
the scoreboard.
That's what I said. I don't see a big issue.
Well, we need to have, it has to be a uniform process. I mean, we just can't.
I mean, you can't put signs all over.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm concerned, that, you know, how's it gonna be?
Yeah, we could put a sign here and there on the things, whatever you want to call it.
You may have to somebody like a liquor store that wants to advertise, says beer and alcohol, adult beverages.
And I'm thinking, worse than that.
Yeah, like the new cannabis, yeah.
That's just me.
Canvas. Well, moving right along, there's no specific progress on the park path, the phase 4 part of it. Tree board next meeting is October 19th. Kim Pruitt is stepping down as chair, and Jeff Davidson is most likely going to step in as an interim. We lost a lot of trees this year due to the drought. Jeff's going to inventory them, run an inventory and provide the info to the town to remove them. Moving on to movie night, Thor, Love and Thunder was not well attended. It was my understanding there were 6 people there and most of them were workers. So I was saying, and they had one movie that they couldn't do because of the rain. So they talked to the people that they rent the movies from, and they actually can get a credit. So that's going to happen for next season. Concert night, concert season is over. Last one, it would have been not this weekend, but the weekend before, was Barbershop Chorus, but it was rained out. But Rowdy Acres with Josh Cruz was well attended previous evening. Moving on to Old Time Christmas, Roarsville band's been confirmed. The high school and middle school bands have been confirmed. Isaac Whitmore, he's going to check the fire department to get the truck. Chris is going to take care of the apples, goodie pies, and contacting Santa. Boy Scouts are going to do luminaries and caroling, so that's good. And Jeff will take care of the cookies and hot chocolate. If anyone has a tree to donate, we would like to set a 15 to 30 foot tree down for the town tree for Christmas. And I said something to him about the tree farm, so that'd be a good thing. The EDC beautification project, I told him that was pretty much on hold until they get permission from the homeowners. Planning and Schaefer Park entrance, the EDC was supposed to attend this meeting, but they didn't. I guess that's tabled. And the picnic table and the shelter, the table's back, but the shelter's going to be replaced. Of course, we discussed that. And town updates, I informed everybody we have a new town manager who was come by and see him. Meeting was adjourned, and the next meeting is October 24th here at 7 o'clock.
What is it, EDC?
The EDC did not attend the park board meeting about the planning at the Schaefer Park entrance. Let's do this.
Anybody have any questions of Rick? Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Municipal Commission.
Sure. We last met on September the 20th. Had an introduction from our new town planner, Drew Bowen. Drew's already begun researching on annexation agreements in town capacity under old business. The wastewater treatment plant sludge dewatering facility is getting ready to run the line from the plant over to the press. The forms for the building are complete, and pouring the slab was scheduled the following week. Groundwork for the storage building has started along with new water lines. Replacement heads for the chlorine, sulfur dioxide, both water and sewer plants. Some of the heads date back to 2004 and not able to be calibrated. Pete got a quote for 10 new Archer chlorinators for $6,000 if you order them in the next 40 days. These units come with a lifetime warranty on the casement and 3-year for inside. Pete did check with USA Blue Book for comparison pricing at $14,650. The BMUC recommended to approve the purchase of the ones in the next 40 days. Crestview water leak valve replacement, we already discussed that. Working now on a funding project so we can get that moving along. The auction house sewer connection, the owners still haven't come before the BMUC, but Greg believes they have been in contact with Washington County and they're working on temporary solution. Town planner wants to have more information about the type of waste the brewery will generate and that the town needs to stay involved. Reservoir update from the town manager. He's actively pursuing additional funding, and WRA is working on updates for the security add-on. We also had some comments from Councilmember Kitchen that he brought back before the BMUC in relation to the Planning Commission, and we discussed it briefly earlier. We've got these small developments, water taps here, water taps there. We don't have a roadmap, and that's being addressed. Town planner presented the commission with data on plan development and capacity calculations. This information provides more clarity on the reservoir leak and the amount. It shows where the amount of discharge is way below what our production line is, which we know that was a problem. We spoke briefly about the Chase 6 update, which we talked about earlier here tonight. There's nothing really new to add there. Under Simpson's reports, our superintendent Pete, on the water side, everything was running smoothly. No additional updates on the Schaefer Park well, but he did give us an update earlier this evening. And our public works superintendent Greg, on the sewer collection side, all was good. And he states on the water side that the public works was sent down to the police station for a leak, and Greg touched on that earlier this evening as well. And we discussed also that the BMUC acted by email on an urgent matter to order more water meters. And our next meeting is on October the 18th, right here at 6 p.m.
Do I have any questions, Lieutenant?
One comment, good job, Tony.
Thank you.
The thing about the email vote, we have discussed putting those email votes in minutes. So
It
the
is.
public can, yeah, I know,
It is,
but John was looking over it. So the public can see what.
Absolutely.
Thank you, gentlemen. And by the way, you were talking about the auction house. I understand Brandon and the General, which is over here, Dan's, will be opening soon. Both of them. It could be possibly the end of this week, could be possibly the end of next week. I understand Brandon had another soft opening this past week. I didn't either until somebody told me out of Legion, they just came from there with dinner and said it was very, very good. So, we will have.
It's gonna be the Admirals.
The Admirals, yeah, Admirals, not Generals, Admirals.
Captain Benders.
Yeah, Captain Bender, Admiral. Thanks for correcting me there.
Yeah.
So is that,
Go higher up.
is that a second location for them? Is that? Are they
Yeah,
still?
Dan's, yeah, they're gonna have a reduction, they're gonna have an upscale. And I was talking, I was in Jim on it last night. And, so, not you.
Bender?
Yeah. So Benders is gonna be coming up here, it's gonna be called, instead of Captain Bender, it's gonna be like Admiral Bender.
Oh.
And it's gonna be upscale, more, not just like pizza and stuff, it's gonna be a little more upscale, but not as, not off the chain like it was.
And that's soon.
Soon, yeah. Yeah. Okay, planning commission, Eric?
Well, good evening. I only feel bad that I have to follow Tony and Drew. But hey, how do you do that?
You've got nothing left to say.
I'm telling you. So we did meet on September 26th. First item of business was Drew was introduced as the new town planner. Under old business, most of the discussion, sorry about the call, folks, was the comprehensive plan. So I indicated that there is $60,000 still available for the comp plan in the FY24 budget. I'm gonna say that Drew's probably okay with me saying that I think it's fair to say we're not gonna use all 60K, at least in FY24. Maybe none of it. He indicated, if I took this note correctly, that there is 1,000 acres that are undeveloped between what he mentioned, DT&K, out here at Easter Days, down on King Road, 1,000 acres. So as far as the schedule to get the comp plan done, he suggested doing one chapter a month. The planning commission agreed with that. It sounds like they're gonna do a lot of this themselves. And Drew's gonna get back to the commission with some demographic numbers for the next meeting. Then they're gonna map out the schedule a little bit. And that's the things that are moving forward nicely. under goals, I like the way he said this. He says, what do you want the town to look like? That's important. Make sure we're all paying attention here. What do we want the town to look like? Okay? Now, I'm not sure what the council's involvement or input to that's gonna be, but apparently the planning commission will have input to that. They talked a lot about smart growth and just my own little editorial. I know some other towns have limited the number of houses that can be built each year, just so everything's not overwhelmed, schools, traffic, water, sewer, that sort of thing. So we may want to have that discussion sometime with all these developments coming on, some number per year total, not per developer. Whether that number is 50 houses a year, 20 houses a year, whatever the number. But we don't need 1,000 new houses in 3 years. I think we all can agree to that. Just overwhelm everything. Then under planning and zoning updates, it kind of turned into a free-for-all, I'm gonna say, Andrew. People ask, what about Highs? Where's Highs? The commission wanted to know why hasn't Highs come on? I said, well, it was my understanding that when Triad did the engineering study, they were told 18 to 20 tap fees was what Highs were gonna have to pay. And Highs said, heck with it. So they backed out. So Dave Parmalee, the chair of the commission, indicated that he was gonna call the mayor that night. I don't know if he did or not. But in the meantime, the next day or three, Drew did some of his own numbers and sort of contradicted what Triad had done. And honestly, I think he's right. He came up with a much lower number of EDUs. So I don't know where that discussion is gonna go. He came up with like 3 versus 18 to 20. So I'm not sure how that discussion is gonna go, where it's gonna go. But if we go down that path, then every commercial establishment in town is gonna say, well, how about reassessing me?
Is that not including the car wash?
It includes the car wash.
And the truck wash?
See,
The big.
what people fail to realize, those car washes recycle their work.
Oh,
all the
yeah.
time.
The new ones do,
The
yes.
new ones do, yes. So they're not using that much. One out here is AT&T, I think theirs recycled.
Triad based theirs on square footage.
Yeah.
There are different ways to calculate water use based on number of households, number of people, size of line, size of meter. There's a lot of different ways to do it, okay? When you know nothing, you use square footage. So he took the square footage of the building and just applied a rate across it. I have his calculations. I mean, it was in what was sent to us. I have his calculations. He did it on square footage. Well, square footage is one of the worst things to do because a use for a convenience store is going to be very different than a CVS or something else, you know. I mean, so it is a planning tool. What they did was an engineering standard. Don't misunderstand me. It was just the most vague, broad scope one that you have. What I did is I went in and I looked at the meter size. Meter size is 2 inch. The 2-inch meter isn't any more than 3 EDUs. Now, there's a calculation, I ran the calculations, I sent it to the planning commission, so, you know, I mean, the answer is, I don't think the number needs to be 18 or 20, which is what Triad came up with. And even as a comparison, I compared it to AT&T, and they have an old one, and they do use a hell of a lot of water, but they have 2 2-inch connections. They got 1 2-inch connection just for the old car washes, and it uses 140,000 gallons a quarter or something. I mean, it uses a lot. But again, keep in mind, when you say compare AT&T to the future highs, you're not comparing apples to apples. They have 1 2-inch meter. AT&T has 2 2-inch meters. That's more than a factor of double because you've got sizes of pipe and it's circular, and I won't get into all the stupid reasons, but the point is, you can't really compare apples to apples. All of this was based on the point that the planning commission members were coming from, is that they would like to see the highs move forward.
Right.
And if the sticking point was the tap fees, and we can resolve that, we should look into that. That's why I ran the vote.
Absolutely, I think that was the main reason.
Yeah, I think it was too.
It was the main reason. They weren't even negotiations on that either. It was, we're gonna keep the tap fees, that was it. If it's only 3, yeah. I think it's.
Absolutely.
Did Drew get the recent review that we did of taps?
No, not for me anyway.
I mean, Yvette's told me a little bit, and Brian told me a little bit about what was done. I looked at it really quickly.
Okay.
I mean, I see what they did. What they did is, again, an engineering standard. It's a very simplistic way to do it. It's not very complicated, and it's very, very general, but it's okay. I mean,
But
with,
if we apply that same standard, are you still gonna have that same number?
yes,
Okay.
yes, you have the same number.
Because we need to be consistent with what we just did.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, Tony, is you, Jerry, a couple of us, we know this is all the more reason with this partnership between planning and zoning
Right.
and DMC.
Yeah.
So under the free-for-all, as I called it in the meeting, you know where Haas was, that's where Haas is, where the heck we go from here? And the second thing they brought up was the aquatic center. Why haven't we moved forward with the aquatic center? And what do I say about that?
I would say, it's on hold until, because we contacted at that time, way back, God, I don't know how many years ago, the YMCA to see if they would run it and man it and everything, and they said, not at this time, but maybe down the road.
Down the road.
It was my understanding if it's you build it, we will come. That's the way I understood it. And my understanding was a simple thing that was going to cost a couple million turned out to be a $21 million thing toward the end of it. So, yeah. Plus, that's on the last phase of the park too.
Yes, it's still in the last phase, so it's down the road.
You know,
It's done, it's still in the phase.
it's way down the road.
Yeah.
It's way down the road.
So we had to prioritize.
Yes, we have. We're prioritizing.
Also, too, we gotta get our water problem solved first
Right.
before we think about swimming pool.
Well, they brought it up and I reported on it. And, but yeah, that's right. So, I'll.
Yeah.
So that is it. We do meet again October 24th. And, it's my understanding that Drew will be attending all those meetings now, as did Ralph. So, that's it.
I do have a question regarding those tap fees. So that 18 number, 3 number, that's the EDUs,
Yeah.
correct?
What he calculated, yes.
So you're saying that then they would have to pay 18 connection fees?
If you use gross footage as Triad did, yes.
Okay, because the last person that paid tap fees did not pay the amount of EDUs and tap fees.
Right. Yeah, so that's what, I'm just saying, as long as we get the same consistency as what we just did, because that's correct. We didn't, they didn't buy that many taps, but they're paying different EDUs, that's correct.
Are you referencing fixed fees now?
Yes.
So there's all these different nomenclatures that got brought into this. Tapping fee is for the privilege to be able to use our infrastructure. That's what the tapping fee is. Typically, it's based off of EDU, equivalent dwelling unit. It's what one household uses. It's a standard made by the AWWA. It ends up being 250 gallons a day, 22,500 gallons a quarter or something like that. I don't know. So, but then when we did this whole billing restructure, now there's a fixed fee. That is what you pay quarterly. So all these terms all get intermingled and it starts adding layers of complexity. Tony, no offense to you, but you said you were referencing the fixed fees, I think. But you said tap fees. Were you talking, because you were talking about what we just recently did. Maybe I misunderstood you.
No, you're correct.
So, and again, there's hiccups with that. So there has to be this good, clear understanding in all these different words, because if people, so if we charge them 3 tap fees for the privilege to be able to come onto our infrastructure, does that then imply that they're going to pay 3 fixed fees?
Yes.
Okay, so that's,
Yes.
and I think that's one of these other discussions like with Jared. There needs to be a system put in place that's repeatable, that it's not just shooting from the hip and hoping we did the same thing each time. Because then what ultimately is the council, you guys want to be clear and you want to cover yourself from litigation, because if something happens, ultimately you guys are the ones making the decision.
I'm certain most of you probably carry personal liability insurance for that reason. So if a process is set in place that, hey, this is how we calculate it every single time, it cannot be questioned because that's the process. But we gave this guy right down here 3 lots, we gave him a different number because, oh, it was for old folks. So like, I mean, it's kind of a dangerous precedent.
Utilities meeting, Ryan, we talked about all that.
It's a dangerous precedent, but there's all these different terms and they get intermingled and
I will say real quickly, Drew and I, this is part of this overall issue we're having. This will be a subcategory of what we're working on to get all these definitions straight. And then we will work on, based on those definitions, what we're charging everyone. So it will be uniform. Now, that does not mean that there aren't certain circumstances where the council decides to work with someone on a different scale, but there will be a uniform way. Those terms will be part of it.
Yeah, that was our conversation in utilities. Everything's not plain vanilla.
Right.
I have some sheep with me.
And then beyond that, there's even confusion what the tap fee does. This guy on Center Street, he thought the tap fee was the actual getting the physical tap. No, that's just your privilege to be able to use our infrastructure. Anything beyond that, they carry the cost of. So I don't even know if that's clearly written in the charter, the bylaws, whatever it is. That's not Greg going out there tapping the line for them. That's just for their privilege to be able to come onto our system.
So Brian, I don't know if that answered your question, but Hydes was supposed to pay 18 tap fees because that was their draw on the system.
Right.
Suspected draw.
Their potential burden they would put on our infrastructure.
The question that you're asking, I think, is no, they don't pay tap fees because you're not assessing them for using the system. They're already using the system. You're assessing them for billing purposes.
Right.
So it's 2 different things. The billing rate, and the tap fees, 2 different things.
There is much, a lot of it.
Public safety, Mary Lou.
Okay, I thought my committee was confusing, but maybe not. Okay, let's see, we have 2 new members on the Public Safety Commission, Robert Exton, Teresa Zero, they were approved last month. We are down someone as our liaison with the ambulance company has just resigned. We did get an update on the Opticom. Thank you, Jared. Kim wanted to know we're working through that. You're still waiting on the fire department to complete theirs.
And they did, since I talked to you, they have.
They have, perfect. I'll give Kim that update. Okay, here's and I guess maybe I need guidance as to how you want me to relay their issues to the town manager and Jared or council. Like, one of the big things they've been doing is walking some sidewalks and pointing out issues. And now I know when we did the tree letters, like, we kind of wanted them to go to the whole town at once. They weren't like picking on some versus others, I guess. So maybe that is the approach on the sidewalks. And some people are more picky on a problem with sidewalk than maybe I am. So we're gonna need guidance on that.
They're doing sidewalk inspections?
Yeah, that's what, this committee's doing.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I feel like there needs to be some guidance laid out for us. Then I was to ask for follow-up with the Boonesboro Volunteer Fire Department, would like follow-up on getting the house numbers and lights at Schoolhouse Court, which is up by the school. They've been trying to get, it's the Washington County Housing Authority. They've been trying to get that done, but apparently the fire department said they're not up to code. But there's supposed to be lights that come on when there's an emergency, and the way it's numbered, it's confusing. There's also concern about the new pedestrian crossing on Main Street and the white stripe in the road. That one of them feels like the white stripe in the road needs to stop, that there's not a stop sign. But, it does say on the sign, stop when someone's crossing. I don't know. State roads put it in, so I can't imagine it's not
Read your sign.
at code, but again, this was a whole discussion. Greg, there was discussion about painting of the fire hydrants, which I know you've been doing, but then also flow test of them versus flushing. Are we flow testing them?
Yes, ma'am.
Flushing.
That's how it colors. If you see them blue to green, that's how you know how many gallons a minute are coming
So
out.
they're being done, okay, because it says they can change, okay. Sycamore Run, there's concern at the circles there, whether they're really traffic circles or if they're just traffic calming and whether they should be stops under yield. Drew said he would follow up on that for me. And then the chief, I was supposed to go with Greg to follow up about someone parking at the top of St. Paul Firehouse Alley, and it's difficult for them to make the turn with the fire truck. I don't know whether the chief got with you or not.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, okay. And our next meeting is Thursday, October the, what, 19th, and it's on the calendar twice, Brian, so maybe Terry just spotted that. It's like on the Friday and Thursday.
Okay, but it's the 19th.
If they want copies of the flavor records, I got it down with this.
I'll just make sure they, report back that that is also being done. I said, I know we've left the hydrants, but I didn't know about.
We flush them every year, and we flow test them like every 2 or 3 years, depending on the development. If you get more pipes put in, then we'll flow test them every year.
Well, that's why you have a different color meter. I mean,
I knew it's a different color. I thought, I knew that.
Yeah, we bought a whole new kit, a hose monster, BMUC approved it a couple years ago.
Perfect. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions, Mary Lou? Thank you, ma'am. EDC.
Okay, no formal meeting since last meeting. We do have a meeting on the 25th, Wednesday, the 25th, 8 o'clock in the morning. We did have the networking breakfast at Fayetteville Heritage Museum. And Drew attended and everybody got to meet Drew. Nice gathering, and we had a lot of sugary snacks and had to go get real breakfast later. But yeah, so that's everything. We'll have a formal meeting here coming up.
Thank you, sir. Anybody have any questions? Environmental, thank you. Environmental Commission.
We did not meet on September the 12th, we meet tomorrow, September 10th.
She's happy.
Does anybody else have anything from the council? Hearing none, I'd like to have a motion to go into the executive session as provided under the general provisions, Articles 3-305B, 1 subsection I, to discuss the appointment, employment, assessment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance, evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom it has jurisdiction.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Have a motion, a second, any discussion? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned, going into executive session. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Break. Out there at South Drive. There's an email right now.
Stay for this.